So to remind ourselves on the key processes that is involved under each of these um, uh, process groups. So initiating we already completed. We have looked into the key processes involved on ITTOs, outputs and challenges, and some best practices on each of these processes, including developing the project charter and identifying the stakeholders. Now we started the planning phase and we have already covered developing the project management plan. We have seen the 14 subsidiary plans, how to produce them, and what are the key baselines that is involved under the developing the project management plan. We also looked at the common ITTOs involved on developing the project management plan. Next, we are gonna cover the planning, the scope management, and the scope or planning scope management will produce the scope management plan. We'll introduce the scope management plan with its roles within the project management process, also its relevance to ensure the project scope is effectively managed. And this foundational knowledge is critical for mastering scope related activities and aligning them with overall project goals. First, let's understand what is scope management plan. Scope management plan is a formal document within the project management plan. It outlines how the project scope will be defined, validated, and controlled. Its purpose is to provide a constant and structured framework, ensuring all of the project stakeholders understand how the scope related decisions are made and managed. Now let's understand its importance or the importance of having a well-defined scope management plan. The scope management plan is essential for aligning the project scope with its objectives. It reduces risks such as the scope creep or misalignment by defining the processes for controlling changes in the scope. Furthermore, it enhances communication among different stakeholders by providing a clarity on scope boundaries and the realistic expectation on what the project is going to deliver. The scope management in the context of PMI processes. According to PMI standards, the scope management plan is a key deliverable of planning process group, which, if you recall that we said the project management plan or developing the project management plan will have 14 subsidiary plans, including the scope management plan. It serves as the foundation for scope-related activities throughout the project lifecycle, include the scope definition, on the scope validation, and controlling the scope. The key components of the scope management plan. The first component is the scope definition, and that involves creating a detailed scope statement that outlines the project boundaries. Also, the scope validation, which ensures that the deliverables are reviewed and accepted by the stakeholders, reducing the likelihood of misunderstandings. The next component that we have also to cover here is the scope control. So, what exactly is scope control? Scope control defines the procedures for managing any changes to the project scope, ensuring that all changes align with the project objectives. And the plan also specifies the roles and responsibilities of team members involved in scope management, ensuring the accountability and clarity. Now let's understand how the let's say scope management plan integrates with the project management plans or other project management plans. So the scope management plan is not a standalone component. It integrates with the other project management plans like the cost, schedule, and quality management because based on the scope, you're gonna estimate the cost, and you're also gonna estimate the time needed to develop the project. Also, it will impact the quality management, since you might have identified some of the quality requirements on the scope. So you need to integrate or to transfer these requirements from the scope management plan to the quality management plan. And this integration ensures that the scope decisions align with the other aspect of the project, promoting the consistency and cohesion. What are the challenges that can be addressed by the scope management plan? A robust scope management plan addresses the common challenges like the scope creep or ambiguous requirements and dispute among the stakeholders due to different priorities. So, by defining a clear procedures and guidelines, it mitigated or it mitigates these risks effectively. Now, let's have a look a real world example on scope management in a real project. Let's say in a software development project, the scope management plan provides a clear framework for defining the features, for example, on what the software will have. Also, will have, let's say, a clear plan for validating the deliverables when the project is implemented. Also, controlling on how to control any scope changes if, let's say, a key stakeholder has requested for a new change or adding or removing any of these features from the scope. There should be a way to validate again the scope and to ensure that the stakeholders follow the change control process to ensure applying all of these changes to the scope. So this ensures that all of the stakeholders are aligned and the project objectives are met without any scope creep. To summarize our session about the scope management plan and with its introduction or introducing the scope management plan. So to summarize the scope management plan, as we say that it's critical component of project management plans, which define how the scope will be defined, managed, validated, and controlled. By understanding its purpose and its components, project managers can ensure better alignment with the objectives and the stakeholder satisfaction and project success.